call His Word. This is how we know Him, love Him, please Him. Or we have to discount all of it. See, we can't do it in pieces, because then we say, well, yes, I believe this part, but not this part. And I think, and I don't know if it was graceful or not. I told her that, if it's just a book and we can discount it, then you could go grab a Harry Potter book or something and live by it, because if it's just a book, it doesn't matter. And she was just like, well, it is. It's just a book. So I was like, you can't trust it any more than you can trust any other book you go to a bookstore and grab. Yeah, and so she doesn't talk to me anymore, but I'm trying. We're working on it. All right. So, but, I mean, that's the thing, is there's a lot of ideas out there. And so how can we, with all of the ideas, all of the preferences, come under the Word of God and be in unity? It's to submit to it, to go by what the Word says. See, what happens in the church a lot of times is we put our own preferences, ideas, and opinions above the Word. See, but instead we should go to the Word and say, what should church look like? What should worship look like? What should leadership look like? What should community look like? What should obedience look like? What should these things look like? Because instead we end up going, well, he's a pretty good guy, so it's okay. Well, she's a good woman, it's all right. Well, they've been coming for a long time, so they'll be okay. But if it's not what this says, we're doing more harm than good. Because God's going to go by His Word. It says that nobody can stay His hand. We're not going to be able to stand before God and be like, well, they're just a good person. Just don't. God says, hey, this is what the Word says. This is my eternal truth. Eternal truth. And so now, it's God, Christ, Scriptures. But what about in the church? How does the church supposed to function? According to the Bible, in 1 Peter chapter 5, it says that the elders are the ones that should lead the church. 1 Peter chapter 5, and Peter is talking to the elders in the church, and he kind of outlines what they're supposed to do. We're going to look at it, and then we're going to talk about the importance of who these guys are. 1 Peter chapter 5, verses 1 through 3, and this is Peter speaking. He says, so I exhort the elders among you as a fellow elder and a witness to the sufferings of Christ, as well as a partaker in the glory that is going to be revealed. Shepherd the flock of God that is among you, exercising oversight, not under compulsion, but willingly, as God would have you, not for shameful gain, but eagerly, not domineering over those in your charge, but being examples to the flock. And when the chief shepherd appears, you will receive the unfading crown of glory. Likewise, you who are younger, be subject to the elders. Clothe yourselves, all of you, with humility towards one another, for God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, so that at the proper time He may exalt you. So Peter, in this text, in 1 Peter chapter 5, he says, elders, shepherd the flock. The flock being the church local. He's saying, I'm an elder, and I'm speaking to you elders here. Shepherd the people. Shepherd them. And he says to oversee them. He says you exercise charge over them. You're responsible for them. See, so the elder's job as shepherds, it means that you guide, lead, direct. A shepherd with sheep are not the smartest animals in that time frame. They're not. They need to be led. I know when I became a Christian, I didn't know anything. I didn't grow up in church. I had more of an idea of what Jehovah's Witnesses believed I was a Christian. So I had no clue. So I needed to be led. I needed to be shown. What does the Bible say? How should I act? But you know what else a shepherd does? It protects the sheep. Have you read about David? He had to fight animals to keep them away. Because animals will attack sheep. Because what defense system does a sheep have? It just hides. It's the same as me. I just hide. And so the shepherds were the only defense. In Acts, Paul says, hey, I'm leaving. He's talking to the Ephesian elders. He says, ravenous wolves will come in from among you, and they'll seek to destroy the sheep. So he says, from among the people, wolves will come up who attack the sheep. protect the sheep. Protect the sheep. So elders are shepherds, so they lead you, teach you, guide you, but they're also protecting you. They're protecting you. Little Jeremy, he rides his bike now. He does, and so at our apartments there's this big hill, but it starts here, it goes down, and it ends at the street. And so you can go straight into the street. And so he likes to ride down the hill, but I tell him, you do not go into the street. You do not go into the street. And so he'll go down there, and sometimes I have to grab him and stop him. And he gets upset, but I'm like, buddy, I'm protecting you. I'm protecting you. But see, for the protection of work, we have to listen to it. I can tell him all I want to, but if he chooses to do what he wants to, it doesn't work. You see, so the leaders, and we're going to get to that a little bit more, the leaders are supposed to protect the sheep, keep them from going astray, from wandering off into something that distracts them, that gets their attention away from following, from doing. And so that is their purpose. That's their goal. And Jesus really exemplifies it even more in Matthew 18. He says that if a man had 100 sheep and lost one, that he would leave the 99 behind to go get the one. And so the shepherd's heart should be a love for the sheep. Be a love. So putting it in terms, the elder's heart should be a love for the people. That he should love the people. That if one of you were to stray, that he would pursue you, that he would find you, teach you, lead you, guide you, protect you. Even from yourself sometimes. I think we've talked a lot about that, about our imperfect tendencies. Peter also calls them overseers. And so that's more than just people who decide what color the chairs are, what color the carpet is, those kind of things. The overseers guide and direct the church as a whole. Every church has a mission. Most of you know Antioch in Waco. Big church. It's a big college-led, college-driven missional church, correct? Their focus is on missions. They want you to come, they want you to learn, they want you to go. And that's what they do. And that's the goal and focus of the church. And that's a good goal, good focus, good vision. But that's up to the elders. See, they say, our goal is missions. We're going to focus this way. There's a church in Dallas called The Village, and their focus is depth. They want you to learn about God. They want you to know Him, love Him, teach Him, preach Him to others, and go that way. And so churches have different visions, different directions, and it's guided by the elders because they oversee the flock. See, so whenever you come into a church, that's part of it. You say, what is the vision of this church? See, I'm not Charlie. I'm not driven towards missions. I love mission trips. It's really hot. And honestly, I love it. I love to go. I love to do, but that's not my calling. My calling is very much within the local church. But Charlie is very mission-based, mission-minded, and so that's why he would be the one who's saying, this is the direction we're going. This is what I see. This is what... And so his mind and spirit and things will work that way, and that's good. See? And so that's why, you come under the leadership of the church. That's why you have to trust the guys. That's why you have to trust them. Because if you don't trust the guys who are saying, hey, we're wandering here, or hey, we need to come back here, you won't listen to them. So how can you? When there's been so much hurt, so much pain, so much strife in the church as a whole, you hear about pastors, you hear about worship leaders, you hear about all this stuff, all these things going wrong. Most of us have these stories where we've been hurt, we've been manipulated. How do we trust the men that we've been entrusted to? By the Word. By the Word, that's right. The Bible has very, very clear qualifications for leaders. And I want you to understand why this is so important. 1 Timothy chapter 3. Paul, now the letter of Timothy, let me give you a little bit of background. The letter of Timothy is Paul writing to Timothy. He left Timothy there to lead the church. And so Paul, as a missionary preacher, he's planted many churches, he's a wise man. He says, let me help you in picking some men to surround yourself with. Okay? And so in 1 Timothy chapter 3, he is helping Timothy